Hi, Mr. Wright here, and welcome to this film in which we'll practice some grade 4 and 5 questions on writing numbers as product of primes and then finding their highest common factors, their HCFs, and their lowest common multiples, their LCMs. You can download the questions by clicking the link in the description, and then you can work on the questions and then watch the film, or you can work on the questions as you watch the film and work alongside me. If you find the film useful, click like, tell me so in the comments, give me some positive feedback. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments, and of course, I'll respond. Right, let's get on with the maths.
Question 1. Right, let's read that question carefully. I need to write this number as a product of powers of its prime factors. So I'll need to use powers in my answer, and I need to show my working clearly, so I can't simply use a calculator to give me the answer. So I'm using a factor tree here. It ends in a 0, so I knew I could take 10 out. 10 is 2 times 5, and that's finished. 25, well, I can see 5 goes into that. You could use your calculator to see how many times. 5 goes in 45 times, and 45 is 5 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. So I get that 225 is going to be 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5 times 5. And so I need to put that as a product of powers of its prime factors. So I need to write 3 squared and 5 cubed. There you go, that's question 1 done. Question 2, write 600 as a product of powers of its prime factors. 600, right, well 10 times 60, since it ends in a 0, I can easily take out the 10. 60 is 12 fives. Of course, you can use your calculator to help you with this bit. 12 is 3 fours, and 4 is 2 twos. So 600 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. So using powers of the prime factors, there is my answer. Question 3, 1200 as a product of powers of its prime factors. Now you can use a tree. Of course you can. I'm going to write 1200 as 12 times 100. And I'm going to write the 12 as 2 times 6, and the 100 as 10 times 10. Now I'm going to leave the 2 because it's prime. The 6 is 2 times 3, and the 10 is 5 times 2, and the 10 is 5 times 2. So now I can see that 1200 is 2 to the power of 4 times 3 times 5 squared. But of course, you can use a factor tree if you want to. Question 5. Right, I'm going to write both of these numbers as a product of primes. And to do that, I'm simply going to use the fact button on my calculator. So here we have both numbers written as products of their prime factors. Now I'm going to put them into a Venn diagram, these factors. I'm going to have the factors of 28 here and the factors of 105 on the right. What appears in both? 7 appears in both. Nothing else does. So 28 needs a 2 and a 2, and 105 needs a 3 and a 5. So the lowest common factor is 2 times 2 times 7 times 3 times 5. And on my calculator, that is 420. Question 6. Right, I'm going to use my calculator to write 140 as a product of its prime factors, and that is 2 times 2 times 5 times 7. And I'm going to use my calculator to write 245 as a product of prime factors, which is 5 times 7 times 7. And look how I've written them in columns to make it easier for myself. Put the factors in a Venn diagram. Factors of 140, factors of 245. What's in both? Well, there's a 5 in both, and there's a 7 in both. 245 has another 7, and 140 has a 2 and a 2. I need to find the highest common factor. So I'm looking for the intersection there. 5 times 7, which is 35. Question 7. Find the highest common factor of 56 and 84. Well, using my calculator's fact button, 56 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 7, 8 sevens, and 84 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 7. Okay, let's do the Venn diagram here. The factors of 56 and the factors of 84. What have they got in common? They've both got a 2. They've both got another 2. They've both got a 7. Okay, and then on the left-hand side I'd have another 2, and on the right I'd have a 3. So what's the highest common factor? Answer, the intersection, 2 times 2 times 7, which is, of course, 28. And you could use your calculator to help you with that if you wanted to. Part B, the lowest common multiple of 60 and 72. Well, 60 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And 72, with the fact button on my calculator, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So factors of 60, factors of 72. What do they have in common? They both got a 2. They both got another 2. They've both got a 3. And that's it. Another 5 for the 60. And a 2 and a 3 for the 72, the lowest common multiple. I need to multiply everything in my Venn diagram. 5 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. Bit of calculator button pressing, and I get the answer, 360. Question 9. Right, 96 is a product of primes. Use the fact button on the calculator. 96 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 2 to the power 5 times 3. And 120 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Let's put these factors into a Venn diagram. 96, 120. What do they have in common? They have a 2. They have another 2. They have another 2. They have a 3. Now I'm asked to find the HCF, so I don't really need to complete the diagram, but I'll put in the 2 2's into 96 and a 5 there. Now the HCF is simply going to be the factors in the intersection, which gives you an answer of 24. And of course you can use your calculator for that. Question 10, the highest common factor of 200 and 420. Well, 200 is a product of primes using the fact button on my calculator. It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. And 420 using the fact button on my calculator is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 7. Okay, then diagrams. 200 on here, 400 on the right. What do they have in common? They've both got a 2. They've both got another 2. They both got a 3? No, but look, they've both got a 5. That leaves me with a 2 and a 5 for the 200, and a 3 and a 7. Now I'm asked the highest common factor, so I take the numbers in the intersection of those factors, multiply them together. Highest common factor is 20. Question 11, finding the lowest common multiples of these three numbers. Now this time I'm going to create the answer from the factors. So I'm still going to use the fact button on the calculator, but I'm going to leave my numbers as powers. 42 is 2 times 3 times 7. See how I've lined them up as well. 63 is 3 squared times 7. There's more on this method in the how-to film earlier in the playlist. The lowest common multiple. So I'm going to need to build a number out of the highest powers required. So I simply take the highest power of each of my columns, and there is my lowest common multiple, which on my calculator is 252. Question 12. I've got each of my numbers here written already as products of primes, but I'm going to write them out again, and I'm going to have a column for each of the primes. So I've got A there, B is 2 to the 4, it's got a 7 and an 11, and C has got a 3 and a 5 squared. Now I'm going to build up my lowest common multiple now by taking the highest power of each factor. So I'm going to have 2 to the 4 here, a 3 here, 5 to the 2, 7 to the 2, and an 11. So my lowest common multiple is 2 times 3 times 5 squared times 7 squared times 11. And if I put that in my calculator, I get the answer 646,800. Question 13. Right, I've got 3 numbers here written as products of primes, and I've got to find the lowest common multiple, leaving your answer as a product of prime factors. That's going to save me working out what the answer actually is. I'm going to use the build up my number, build up my answer method. So I'm writing each of these numbers out, putting each prime factor in its own column so I can easily see what's going on here. Times 5 squared times an 11. Right, now I'm going to build up my lowest common multiple by taking the highest power of each of the primes. Okay, highest one here, 7 squared, and then times 11. So that is my lowest common multiple, and it is written already as a product of powers of prime factors. So I finished. Question 14. Find the lowest common multiple of A and B, giving your answer as a product of prime numbers. Right, well, we're already really written in columns, aren't we? Look, we've got the 2s, the 3s, the 5s, and okay, the 11's there. So I'm going to write the 13 here. Now my factors are written in columns, and I'm finding the lowest common multiple. So I'm going to construct a number out of the highest power of each factor. 11 and a 13. Now, that's my lowest common multiple. Give your answer as a product of powers of prime numbers. Well, I've already done that. So that is the answer for question 14.